Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you about to title today's video, we have everything that won't be answered in NBA 2K25's Community Day footage. So, obviously it's a little bit of a pessimistic video. It's me telling you what you're not going to see, what you're not going to learn from, I believe, anybody's footage, let alone mine, for sure. But yeah, I would like to think no matter who was invited, who wasn't, who made it, who didn't, that no matter what, none of this stuff would have been answered. So it's all just stuff that I think we're going to have to wait until the full game comes out regardless. And as you can see, first thing is dribble styles / meta sigs, you know, between all the dribbling and stuff like that. Obviously, this is something that takes hours and hours and hours to lab and master when you get your hands on the game, no matter who you are. If you've ever tried labbing your own dribble moves, you know, being able to go through the actual animations themselves and even see the previews are helpful. But in this type of tester right here, all you could do is load up NBA players and try little segments of their stuff, aka like I saw Ja Morant's behind the back was really good, but like besides stuff like that, you know, it's hard to test dribble styles even and know who's got what. Someone like Gabe Vincent, Dennis Smith, you know, Dennis Schroeder, stuff like that, none of those guys are gonna have their own dribble style or like half their own sigs for that matter. So a lot of times you'd have to load up the actual game itself to even find out who the heck's sig they have, you know? So all that stuff, I'd like to think, especially the dribble styles and stuff like that, no one's really going to know the meta until we actually load the game up and try it. I actually shouldn't even say, like, especially the dribble styles, because that's a little bit more of a condensed type of thing that you could test out a little bit easier, but yeah, all the super nitty-gritty stuff like behind the backs and crossovers and stuff like that, and, you know, escape moves, etc., they changed a lot of them, I'll say that much. So it made it even harder to like just assume what's going to be good. And same thing applied to, as you can see, it's not really the layup requirements that I'm about to speak on for a second here, but I tried out things like Sabonis lay and like the Trae Young floater and stuff like that, like all those. They changed a ton of them too. Like Sabonis' floater got completely put in the ground, so don't expect to load up and have something like that going into next year. Jokic looked okay, you know, for the bigs out there and stuff like that, but we'll talk about that another time. Like I said, this is what we don't know, so I actually do know for a fact which animations are bad because I tried some of them. But anyway, dribble / layup requirements. Now I put an asterisk next to this one because Evan did say that there's a chance that they would drop some dribble sigs and stuff like that, like the requirements, but it's not a positive for sure thing, and for all I know, it might have just been some limited ones, like the top end ones, like some Trae Young escape moves, stuff like that. I highly doubt they compiled all types of information and dropped like a too long page, you know, list on all the dribble move requirements and the dribble styles and every sig that has to go into that. Like, so I highly doubt we're gonna know the requirements for any of the things that you have to do with dribbling, let alone maybe at least we'll just get a couple, but you know, it's very unlikely. So next up, we have how important badge levels and ratings are. Like, obviously, you know, dudes like Spillboy was there and testing all types of stuff, you know, between like jump shots, this, that, and the other. Every time I came over to him, he was writing stuff down, like on some analytical stuff. But even with someone like him there, and maybe even amplify that by like 10x if there were somehow 10 Spillboys there, you wouldn't just know the type of things that takes 2K Labs all their own equipment and hours and hours and hours worth of testing stuff to just be known off rip. It's all speculation and guessing and stuff like that, so I stay away from that in the first place. I don't want to load up on like 4 different levels of posterizer and just try and assume which one's going to be the best or not. So again, very unlikely that you end up finding any information about how important certain levels of badges are. That's the type of thing I feel like you would need like a demo for, you know, like, because I remember Joe used to do that back in like 2K18. He had like some Klay Thompson test versus like Klay had like gold limitless, Curry had Hoff. He was trying to test limitless range and stuff like that. So anyway, I mean, obviously, you know, we didn't have enough time to be doing stuff like that, in my opinion, and I didn't value that type of time being spent when you could be spending it labbing in the builder and stuff like that, and actually testing physical animations that are, you know, tangible. You can tell like if something's been nerfed or not, like that Sabonis floater and stuff. So anyway, moving along, pick and roll versus ISO meta, which is going to be better? We obviously aren't going to know that going into this. I would like to think that both seem that they have a chance to be good. If you want some speculation, I'd like to think that because 5.9 looks so deviously good, that it benefits pick and roll in that regard a whole lot more than it does 5-out, because those 5.9s, they kind of maxed out at like 75 dunk, or like you'd have to go really high on the wingspan to be able to do so, and then you'd lose out on your three-pointer. So long story short, nobody wants a 5.9 that only has like 87 three-pointer, you know? The way I see it is because they have so many extra attribute points, my speculation would be that pick and roll benefits, but the answer will not be definitively known by any means, you know, going into the year. But like I said, if I had to lean toward anything, I would say pick and roll is looking pretty happy right now about the game, but we'll have to see. anyway, moving along, how easy are cap breakers to get? This was not answered or addressed at all while we were there, and I'm sure it won't be answered or addressed anytime soon. So I will say it's possible that with some like park news and stuff like that, we might get some word on it, but I'm sure it's going to be something where we have to load into the game. First thing you see is how attainable are they? You start looking for the rep rewards and stuff like that, and boom, there they are. So again, couldn't do that. Obviously, that's something you're just not going to know from the community day footage, so don't be hating on creators for not knowing answers like that. And that's what a lot of this video is for. It's more so like a deflector of, you know, hate messages and questions that people are going to keep on constantly getting when clearly we won't know, you know? So anyway, next up, we have, will 5'9s be able to play defense? So multiple things that I was thinking about between this, right? AKA, can they contest shots? Like, you know, between the 5'9 trying to contest another 5'9 is probably going to be really good. I'd have to assume that is going to be a really good sort of deal to deal with because, you know, there is literally a mini marksman badge in the game. So when it comes to 5'9s trying to shoot over taller players, I might assume, maybe I'm crazy for thinking this, but that a 5'9 would match up with a 5'9 better than like a 6'8 would. You know what I mean? You got a whole foot worth of mini marksman activating right there. I don't know if, you know, like on some classic cycle back to how important are badge levels and ratings. I would love to know if like the threshold of height for mini marksman, like that whole foot difference of a 6'8, right? Like if a back end is stepping to a 5'9 point guard in Pro-Am, how much that contest gets negated and stuff like that too. But we won't know that, you know? So again, that's the question I beg to ask is, will 5'9s actually be able to play like good on-ball defense against the other 5'9s? Or the real thing to be asked, obviously, is how good can they play on-ball D in terms of like resisting the blow-bys and stuff like that? Is their hitbox big enough? You know, like does agility itself make up for the fact that they're smaller and they can get cutoffs faster because they move so quick? Same with like on-ball menace, you know, as the badge itself. Is that actually going to be like something that saves them from playing, you know, terrible on-ball D by getting blown by all the time? So it's very pressing question on my mind is whether they can play defense even if they have 99 Prim D and Steel or not. I'll bet you though, those passing lanes, they're looking really good. I mean, lanes look insane. And pair that with 99 Steel, I would bet a lot of money on 5'9s being able to play a lot of lanes even still. So anyway, moving along. What three-pointer do you need to shoot? You know, I mean, like a lot of people are going to be asking this question and it's all speculation. It's all based on the skill of the user who was using it. Like J-Mac, for instance, when we were playing our park game, he hit a 3 with Giannis, but he went like, you know, probably 1 for 4 or something like that. He was mentioning how his shot release wasn't the timing that he wanted on it either. There's all types of stupid fluctuation nonsense that you got to deal with. And some people might have been having a good shooting day. Some might not have. Some might have been used to Xbox controllers like myself and Joey and stuff like that. And Joe, you know? So it's like, I don't think you can gauge stuff like this very easily. So we won't know that, in my opinion, what three-pointer you need to shoot well. And I don't even want to make assumptions, you know? We've seen it in the past, like 2K20, you could shoot with like a 50 three-pointer if you were good. Whereas 2K21 current gen, the game directly after it, you really couldn't even shoot well with 85 three-pointer if you were moderately decent. I know there were comp heads that like obviously made two-way sharps and stuff like that, or some crazy dudes made like pure reds that I highly doubt that actually could shoot consistently no matter who you were in that game. But you get what I'm saying. There's a variance between video games, and those two so tightly tied together are good examples of like the polar opposites of how easy and hard it is to shoot in the game based on just how the game works. But anyway, moving along, we have understanding dunk meter logic. If there's anybody that I feel like would have learned this, it would have been myself. I spent, you know, a good bit of time actually working on this, but here's the problem. The way the meter works, and I'm sure you've seen it if you looked at either of my videos, it's like a full cycle that plays, and it doesn't show a green window slit anywhere. So it doesn't show you how likely you are to make the dunk or not as you're starting it, or let alone finishing it. So you pretty much just fill the meter up or release it when it disappears is actually how it works now. And you just kind of go into every dunk not knowing whether it was a good one or a bad one. Like last year, for instance, if we would have been testing it, you'd have been seeing tiny or small meter, or you would have been seeing gigantic or tiny meters, no matter which one, and it was just going to be either of the two, you know? But this year, you don't see that type of feedback, no matter what meter style you go with or anything like that. So we will have to do a lot of labbing on the dunk meter logic and understanding what's considered a good dunk and a bad dunk, as far as what's something to go for, you know? But anyway, lastly, we have dunk packages with low rating requirements. So like, you know, things like quick drops in the past. I hope that 2K really thinks about the competitive nature of things right here. Like, I know quick drops obviously are, you know, a very simple dunk in its own. I mean, they still get off the ground quite a bit, and like it actually is kind of a tougher dunk than like rim grazers, for instance. Because if you do think about it, you're kind of getting your body like pretty far off the ground. It's not your arms on like a full reach like vertically. They're actually moving out horizontally a little bit for that matter, and that's why I say the body is like getting so far off the ground. But anyway, I mean, that's besides the point. The whole point I'm trying to get at here is that I hope they do put some type of tough rating restriction on really good overpowered dunk ratings so that there's actually a reason to, like, you know, go with stuff like this. Like last year, side clutches off one were so good and it was 92 driving dunk. I believe there was stuff like rim hangs off one. I might be mistaking the name for it, but I remember there was a driving dunk package that was 89 requirement, and I had it on my 7-footer because I could just barely get 89 driving dunk on it. But there was one like that was really good. But at the same time, there were a couple that were even still good, even at like 65. And again, I think it was, I'm mistaking the two names between rim hangs off one. I don't know if it was that, where it was the 65, or if it was the 89 requirement one. But either way, you know, quick drops off one were technically still an 80 requirement, but they were restricted behind, like, you know, rep. And honestly, I don't even remember which certain tier of the rep it was that you had to unlock. But anyway, it was the, starter 3 animations. Yeah, facts. It was those. But anyway. So we don't even know if those are going to be in the game or not either. We don't know what is restricted by, you know, seasons and stuff like that. Rep, like what the animations are even going to allow us to be. So again, I wanted to make this video to allow you guys to understand like what we were limited with in terms of not being able to find things. And that's why I spent a ton of time in the builder, because honestly, I think gameplay stuff, I'd rather just spend time when I can actually do that interactively, like changing my animations, change my player, know all types of the stuff that I'm doing, rather than just testing a bunch of NBA players and that's it, you know? And honestly, I'd like to have some consistency on it. Like when I do those testing all the layup animations in the game, I duplicate my player in my league and have 12 of them and just only change the layup animation. Every other rating, height, weight, wingspan, all that is the exact same. So, you know, you don't exactly get to do stuff like that on a game mode like this. So again, that's why you're going to see all my time spent in the game besides, you know, a little bit of playing that My Team mode. I wish I played more of that, by the way. I only played one game. That was so disappointing. And I'm glad I did at least play that one. But yeah, then the Play Now game, like besides that, I was strictly in the builder, 100%. So anyway, I just want to put this out, you know, deflect some questions that a lot of creators are going to be getting who are at the event and stuff, when clearly they should not really be able to answer too many of these questions. I mean, I can't even think of one that would be likely to be known, other than maybe the dribble styles are somehow found by like Koza, you know, something like that. But besides that, there's no way someone just definitively tells you what three-pointer do you need to shoot the ball with, because they might just be good at shooting, you know. And that might not be you. They might be significantly better as a shooter than you are, or worse for all you know. And they're saying you can't shoot with 83 pointer. It's like, well, you don't know that, you know? There's such a variance of player skill base when it comes to like, you know, the whole community itself, not just the people who went to the event. So, you know, you won't know the answer to a lot of these questions. And same with the dunk meter logic one, like that's impossible to know because you don't get any feedback at all. So that's just a factually like hard thing to do. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to the noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to one of 5,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put 2K25 in the comments, search parts me all the way through. Shout out to everybody who went to the community day. It was a really good time, and I'm ready to lock in here, man. So I don't know when we're posting this. I'm hoping it's probably the first day of being able to post stuff. And I don't even know. I guess technically I probably shouldn't post it on the 27th. It'll probably be the 28th, like really early. But yeah, anyway, might as well just, you know, answer that and tell you guys like what you're going to be seeing and what you won't. So anyway, that's all. I hope you enjoy the content. We're going to be rolling out literally 25 videos here, bro, with a ton of shorts and stuff too. So I'm looking forward to it. It's some real life-changing moment for sure, and I'm ready to see it all unfold because I've been putting in some work the last couple of days. This is the last video I'm recording, but I'm uploading it pretty early, I'm guessing. So anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. None of that. Take it easy, man. Peace.